picture, you can see I've really transferred this onto the paper below using the blue transfer paper that we've been using before. So we take that one out, put it away, and what I normally do is, you can see I've only secured this at two places, so that if I'm busy transferring I can always come back and compare to see whether I've left anything off from here, so that in case I have left something off and this comes loose, it's virtually impossible to get this realigned exactly with the one below. So don't forget, secure this properly, put your paper, the transfer paper underneath, and you can then come back and then backwards and forwards to see whether you've left everything off. At the moment it's as normal, very light blue lines. They don't show up in the after I've done the pen and ink. Not that easy, and it can be removed later if necessary. Okay, so here you can actually see where I've transferred. I've used a ballpoint pen, and I can see where, and by doing that I can actually see where I've also not copied to transfer. So there's another way of doing it, is make sure that you've got a print that you throw away, and then you can mark it off so you can see exactly where you've transferred. Right, and here what I've done is, you can see I've just added another little leaf on side here, because we're not going to be doing these leaves. I'm keeping this part as a piece on its own. I've got these two little leaves, and I've just added this little one on here just for balance. You've got this little stem that goes out, and then this little one sort of hidden behind. I've virtually taken that one out and moved it out towards the side. This is not going to be there. I just want this little piece across here. That we're not going to do, and that we're not going to do. So let's take that off and put that. Let's take that off so it doesn't get stuck up in a little bit later on, or getting hooked. We'll put that aside, and I'm going to be using, instead of the other pens, I'm going to be using the felt tip. I'm going to be using these ones here, which is going to be the dip pens. And here I've got the thing. I've already poured some ink in there with my Indian ink bottle, and this is the holder that just stops it from falling over and messing up ink all over the place. Then what I've got here, let's just put that aside. I have a tonal chart. So let's have a look at something here. The tonal chart is quite interesting, because what happens is, now with the tonal chart, you can then on your drawing make sure that you're getting the same tonal ranges that we're going to be using on the other. So this is a big one. It actually comes from the pencil course that we offer, pencil tonal chart, which has your pencil ranges, but I'm using these ones across here. Ours is just black, so we're going to be just with our cross hatching and markings to make sure that we bring our tonal ranges up to the same tonal ranges we've got here. But I've got the other half that I've cut away, and these are the ones I use. You've got the 2H, and I normally use between that in here, between the 2H and the 4B as far as this is concerned. Then when I went darker, I can go to the 6B and the 9B. But in this one here, I use this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the M that I've got here is the middle tone. So that is your middle tone, and you can use this for virtually any artwork that you're doing, whether it's pastels or watercolors, oils, or gouache, or whatever you're going to be using. these are the ones, important ones, because your tonal range is the one that's more important than actually your color. And so here we're going to see and have a look. And let's have a look and see what our normal tonal range is going to be. So if we take that one, I'm looking at this, take a pointer here so we can see. If I look at that one as opposed to that one, you can see this one is too light compared to that color. Let's take this one, that's getting closer between that one, so let's take this one and that one. If you have a look now, this tonal range is almost the same. Let's take that one. Now you can see this one is a bit darker than that one. So the tonal range that we're going to be using in this side here is for our purpose the same as if you were using an HB pencil into there. And then of course you come higher up here, you can see now you can't use the HB across here because now that one is much lighter than this one. And we took this, that is coming closer, but now that tonal range, the H, is more for this one here. As we go up, you can see that that one here falls in with a 2H. If you take across there, this is too dark. Well, it comes almost. So you could, let's say, I think this one here, there's your tonal range for that one. So we'll come back to that as we're doing busy with this one. As we go down here, and we go and we have a look at the stems down at this end. If we do that, you can see this one is a little bit. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but this one here is a little bit too dark to come that one. But this one here, between the B and the 2B, comes to this here. But whether we use that one, it's in this area here, it doesn't really matter. We want some shade under that, and then we come out, we get some more of the sunlight coming into this area. Okay, so let's put that aside, and then before we start, I want to show you something else. If you have a look, you see this area here is now a bit dark, so it's not always easy to see what's actually inside that particular area. Because the cameras, usually for color, is usually only three stops. Apart from that, it hasn't got a wide range. It's like a black and white photograph, the old black and white film you used to have. So what actually happens is, if you want to see in this side here, this is being light, the camera's taken this one, it's focused for this, but it's not exposure, taken the exposure in for the darker areas. If you come in for the darker areas, what actually you get the detail of this one, that becomes overexposed or underexposed depending what you're using, and then this, you hardly any detail. So if I want to see this detail here, that means I have to change my exposure. Now I've done this in my editing program, and I've come up and I've done this. Now we can see, now you can see much better the detail that is in this area. So, and then of course another thing is, have a look, is by doing that, and I've just changed I've not changed any color. All I've done is just change the brightness, and see what's happened here. The underlying color for your orange is actually yellow. So if you were doing a painting, you put your yellow down first, and then come in and build your orange over the top of that one. And in printing, first thing they do, your first one is they print the yellow first, and then they will do the red, and then they'll do the blue, and then they'll do the black in the printing process. So here you can see the underlying, and I'm going to be using this one quite a bit here because here it can be almost the same color all the way through. So I'm going to be lightening some of these areas and reshading it slightly so that we can get the thing. So here you can see the difference where it gets darker in the shadow areas and goes a bit lighter, and we'll be using that as a basis. Okay, well, obviously we won't be doing it as light as this one, but I'm using this as an example when it's darker in here and gets lighter as it comes up. And of course underneath here there's a bit of a shadow with this overlap, this lip that comes over, and we're going to be darkening it up. See that in here. Okay, so let's take that off and begin our drawing. So I'm going to be using this mapping pen first, and I'm going to be doing some I made these ones a little bit darker than I normally would, just so that the camera can pick it up, because normally what I would do, for especially with the light edges of these ones here, I would actually make it very light that I personally can just see it, but camera wise it would be hard to see. So I've actually emphasized these lines more than what I would normally do if I was doing this without any camera work at all. So let's take that up. What I do is I've got a little piece of paper. Once I've got it in, just dip it, take the excess ink off, and then just make sure that it's working, and then come along. And now I'm going to very lightly, because this is the light, just sort of half giving an indication, very light. And I'm putting some little waviness inside, because the edges of the roses and petals are not always as if it's been cut with a pair of scissors. So I'm just putting a very light outlines first. They can always be beefed up later, just so that I've got my hit and miss, as it were, at this stage. As far as the lines go, just the indication, very light. Okay, so let's go this one here. The outside first. Let's do some of these ones here. These are all the different little petals, and he's got this one little lip that sort of comes out down there. That's an overhang. We've got another little overhang that comes across this side, and one that goes in here. Let's bring this closer here so you can actually see what's happening. I'm going to do that and bring that closer, now that you can virtually follow me what I'm doing. Dip some more in, just give it a bit of a go, and there's this other little piece that goes in here. This other leaf that comes out here. While we're here, we might as well do this other leaf. And these roses usually have these little leaves that have got little spikes on them. We might as well just put that on. There's this bit of the centre vein that goes up. Let's indicate that one. And we have these other petals here that are below the other. You notice that the blue sort of, even with the thin lines, tends to disappear already behind these the ink it's putting in here at the moment. Let's see, it goes across here, and then we have that little lip. It's turned up at that point. Right, let's go into the center. Check that again, put some more ink on. These are all the little upturned lips. And they're the ones that define the edges of the leaves, the petals at least, not the leaves. Across here, into here. Go carefully with these ones, because these here are actually your foundation work to the pen and ink work itself, so you need to be quite careful and get them reasonably accurate. Unless you're working on parchment paper, you find that cartridge paper is not so easy to make any changes, to scratch them out, as it were. Parchment paper, it's fine. We're doing illuminated addresses. That's lovely. You can always scratch out your mistakes and redo them, as it were. And we've got a little, yes, this one coming across there, down here. We've got these little one coming down here. Stem. All these little, there's a special name for these ones, I've forgotten what they are, all these little leaves that come out at the bottom of the rose. It's almost like a cover leaves for the buds. There. For that side, now we have the other little leaf across here. It's actually a stem going on, but I'm not going to put that in as a stem as it on its own. I'm just going to make it like one of these little leaves. Got this other little small little leaves that go out here. finished. Right, there we've done the the main little set out. We've got a few of these little veins that come out. Can't see them too much on that one, so right, so now we can start some of our shading. Let's zoom into there. Right. Let's take this one. And also do that. Bring that a bit to the side. And we can have a look and see. Right. What we need to see is the actual rounding of the actual petals themselves, and we have to, our lines, basic lines will have to follow that rounding. So take this leaf, let's look at this one first.